Welcome to The Change, a podcast about the changes in life that shake, break, and make us. I'm Laura, a 45-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum who has until recently always loved change.
And I'm Cathy, a 53-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum, and change is actually my kryptonite. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia on which this podcast is recorded and recognise the continuing connections to lands, waters and communities.
We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and elders past and present.
Hi Cathy, how are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am great, thank you. I'm very excited for today's guest.
Tell me.
I'm just going to tell you who we've got. We've got Steph de Sousa. She's a chef, an author, and a social media superstar with close to 2 million followers across Instagram. I know, TikTok and Facebook, and it continues to grow. I mean, we can only dream of those sorts of numbers. Yeah, I know. She's a proper celebrity. She loves nothing more than sharing her passion for frugal, flavoursome and delicious food with her followers. Many of you will know her after her successful stint on season 11 of MasterChef in 2019. She's also a mum of 4. She has a background in hairdressing and also worked in HR for a period. But she always knew that cooking was her true calling. Steph's freestyle creative homestyle cooking on MasterChef won her countless fans. This year, the super stylish Steph, known for her very strong specs and earrings game, achieved another milestone with the publication of her first cookbook, Air Fryer Queen, aiming to empower others with accessible recipes that showcase her innovative approach to cooking. Her socials make us both very hungry and yet inspired. Please welcome the legendary Steph de Sousa.
Hi, Steph. How are you going? We are so excited to have you on.
So excited.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Before we jump into the questions, can you give us a bit of an update on your health? How are you going? We are interviewing you just after you've been in hospital. We all saw that on your Instas and, the socials. And how are you going?
Yeah, good. I'm getting better. It's just one of those things that just takes time. It's called vestibular neuritis, and it's basically a virus, so just random, like a cold or a flu. So it's just a virus, and I just happen to be the lucky one to get it.
Yay.
And it just means that I feel like I'm on a boat kind of swaying all the time. And if I move suddenly, then the boat goes to like cyclonic kind of conditions and I rock badly. But I'm lucky. I'll get better. It's just a little bit of time, a little bit of physio, things like that. But it's pretty frustrating because I've gone from being like fiercely independent, like I'm so independent. It's not funny. I don't ask anybody for help. I do everything myself. To not even being able to drive. So, yeah.
Oh, no. It's independence. Yeah, that's hard.
Well, we're glad you're getting better. I empathise with the lack of independence and around not having a driver's licence. I had a mental health breakdown, very different to what you are going through. But as part of that, I couldn't use the left-hand side of my body. And as part of that, I couldn't drive. So I didn't have a driver's license for close to 18 months, I think it was.
That is a long time.
And then because it was given up for medical reasons, and I don't remember it, and I don't imagine that I was giving it up willingly. I imagine they, prize it out of my cold, dead hand.
Yeah.
But because it was given up for medical reasons, I now have the fun thing of every year I have to go and get a medical with my GP to keep my driver's license, to keep my independence. But you know what? If that's what I've got to do to keep my driver's license, I just make an appointment.
There should be a way to be able to go, right, I'm good now. Like it should last forever, unless it's an ongoing disability.
No, it's not an ongoing disability, but it's near impossible to get a medical off your driving file once it's on there. Yeah. So, yeah.
You know what I really want to do? I want to go to bloody Kmart. I want to go to Kmart. And
I'll drive you to Kmart, Steph.
Laura
love Kmart too.
Laura can come pick you up. There you go.
Yeah.
Just come on the we'll sort out your social life.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, we'll set up a date for you. So now we've got the health stuff out of the way and we know you're going to be okay, which is very good to hear. Hopefully by the time that everybody's listening to this, you're back driving and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. It's pretty quick.
You are really well known for our Aussie audience anyway, to your pretty successful stint on MasterChef in season 11, which was 2019. Is that right?
It's like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Wild how years just fly.
5 years. Yeah, crazy.
Can you tell us a little bit about the experience of like being on MasterChef and what you learnt through yourself in that process? I know I saw a little clip last night, and it must have been the episode where you were leaving. Yeah, well, leaving. Like,
no, they call it elimination. It's
I know, but I know that's pretty brutal. But it must have been that because you were talking about how you had learnt a lot about yourself, and it was beautiful. And if you could just share that with us, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. The thing I learned the most about being on MasterChef was being my authentic self. When you're in front of the camera for so long, like, I mean, sometimes I'm talking 15-hour days, you know,
Wow.
chef filming. Like when there's 24 contestants, that obviously drops down as the contestants drop down. But in the beginning, some of those tastings can take 4 hours when there's 24 dishes to taste, like a long time. So when you're in front of the camera for that long, it's pretty hard to fake it, right? Because you just can't. So you just have to be your authentic self. You can't put it on. One thing that I learned during that period of time was that my authentic self was okay. When I'm at home, I'm not who I am when I'm there, when I'm on my own. At home, I'm a mum. At that time, I was a mum to kids that were in their early 20s, to teen, and to, I think Noel was like 8 or 9 then. So, like, I had all these different personas. I was a wife and I was a public servant. Like, I had all these different hats on. But when I was at MasterChef, I was literally just being me and the thing that I loved the most, which was cooking. So, first of all, I got to know who that person was because I didn't really know who that person was because I have been a mum since I was 21.
Wow.
And I'm now 51. So, you know, like that's a long time to be something other than what you are on your own. So that was probably the biggest thing that I learned, I think. And that was very life-changing for me.
And so when you say you were a public servant, what was that like a admin clerk? You weren't chefing?
You can't be a professional cook, chef to get on MasterChef. You have to be an amateur. No, I was a HR specialist for the Department of Human Services, so Centrelink, Medicare, you know, all those kind of departments. Yeah, I used to always say like that job was eating my soul. Like it just wasn't, there was no creativity. It was just I was just not who I needed to be in that role.
Can you tell us a little bit about the audition process? Because you're based in Newcastle, correct?
Yeah.
And it's filmed in Melbourne, yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
So how does a gal from Newcastle who is a HR specialist get to being in the top 24 or the top 20 on MasterChef? Like that blows my mind. Like how does that even happen?
It took me 3 years. So I auditioned 3 years before I got on. I went through the audition process. So it's changed now because of COVID, but when I was auditioning, you put in a written application. From that, you were invited to go to an audition. And the first audition was you were in a room of about 15 other applicants and you had to cook a mystery box and they had all the ingredients. So you had to cook. And then you would go to a room after that and you would be told if you were invited to come back again in a couple of days' time to cook your specialty dish. So from those 15 people, there's usually only 2 or 3 people were selected from that 15. And these auditions went on for days. So there was like thousands of people that were, and it was narrowed down. So then you come back in 2 days' time and you
would in Sydney?
Yeah, that was in Sydney. It was in a cooking school in Sydney. So then you would go back and you would cook your specialty dish, whatever that was. One that got me in my specialty dish was it's like an Asian rice paper roll, and I made my own hoisin sauce and chili oil and stuff like that.
Wow.
Dish.
Okay, we're coming over for lunch after Laura's taken you to Kmart, and I've got to drive there from Wollongong, so you've got plenty of time to cook.
I've got plenty of time to get it ready and to practice it because I haven't cooked it in a long time. So then from that audition, the same thing happens again. You all get put, there's about 15 of you, you get put into a room and you get told who's through again. So usually only, 1, 2 or 3 people, depending on who gets through. And then straight after that, you fill out all of these psychological assessments and personality assessments and things. You have an interview with a psychologist.
Wow.
You have an interview with the executive producer and someone from Channel 10, and there was 3 people kind of on a panel. And then you go away and you wait. So you kind of shortlisted from there, and you wait because then they have to do every state, and then they kind of they say, now it's like putting the jigsaw puzzle together. They need personalities, and they need different types of cooks and different socioeconomic or demographics, all that kind of stuff. So they're kind of putting a TV show to get together. So we've established cook, now we just need to put a TV show together.
Wow. And did they contact you after the 2 times you didn't get in, and the 3rd time, was that you just going back through the same process, or did they reach out?
No,
oh wow. Okay.
The same process. Yeah.
God, you must have really wanted it. I can't imagine it must have been hard self-esteem wise. Did you feel okay after the you must have learned to deal with a bit of rejection there?
I mean, I was disappointed. I think the first time I was disappointed. It was like, but I couldn't believe I'd gotten that far. Like, I was actually really shocked. So that just made me more determined. So the next year when I didn't get in, then I was disappointed because I felt like I was so much better. I'd really practiced. I'd really honed my skills. I was really disappointed. And the 3rd year, it was like, this is it. If I don't get in this year, I'm done. I mean, I wouldn't have been, but I said that. Like,
you had family, you had 4 kids, you had a job.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you juggle all of that? Like, obviously the family, they were all on board with you going, and
6 months I was gone.
Right. So so the family
months.
needs to really be on board, right? Like, they really need to be like, we're behind you in this.
Yeah, and your community. Like, it wasn't just my family, like there was other people. Like my next door neighbour, Vic, she came once a week and cleaned my house for me. Like, while I was
amazing.
Out, bless her. And a friend Rachel, who just set up the spare room for Noah. So when Nev couldn't have him or one of the kids or whatever, like, he would just go and stay there. And just people like that were just around and just supported, so I could do it, was amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. Just even the pure logistics of it is amazing. And then, the fact that you did so brilliantly on the TV show. And what do you think it was, you're so, like, you've spoken about being your authentic self. Do you think that was helpful in the kind of, then the next phase of your career, which has obviously been your amazing social media, which we're going to come to, that really people have connected with you? It's not because... Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's the secret. I mean, it took me a while to realize that after I came out of Steph, because I did like a few different things, and I kind of probably did what I thought people expected me to do on my socials when I came out of MasterChef. Like, I did you go to the events, and I posted about the restaurants that I was going to and stuff like that. And I tried to keep it, what Instagram's like. Very aesthetic and lovely, and everybody's beautiful and all that. So I tried to do that, and I actually hated it, and it kind of really didn't, like, it just didn't really work for me. And then I got on TikTok, which we know is rogue, and you can do whatever you want on there. And I think because I was starting from scratch, I kind of knew my MasterChef background and kind of no expectations, so I kind of just really honed that authentic side of me and did what I wanted to do there, and that gave me the confidence to bring it over to the shiny platform. People liked it on there too.
So in that 6 months while you're away, you've gone away and you're living in Melbourne, and so are they giving you training? Like, do you do cooking training, or it's like every day it's kind of what we see on the show? How does that all work? Because I love cooking, but my mind can't process any of that.
No, you're not giving training. You really, but you are immersed in it, which is the training that you get. So you are surrounded by 23 other people that are as obsessed with cooking and food as what you are. You have no social media, you have no phone, you have no family, you have no life, essentially. You don't really, apart from going to the studio and going back to the house, that's all you do. So you are like immersed in your cookbooks and you are cooking dinner for other foodies, and you do get practice time in the kitchen, but there wasn't a lot. So there's just a lot of reading and consuming and talking. So
that's how you come up with the recipes, is it? Because like obviously they go, right, you've got the mystery box and you've just got to run off and you've got to create something.
Yeah.
But you've spent like a couple of days immersed in recipe books and kind of you're like, oh, okay, I've got these 10 ingredients. I saw something that I could tweak that make my own sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. And you grow as time goes on, and you watch people. I don't know. Last night was the finale of MasterChef on Channel 10, and you just watch how much they've changed between the first episodes and where they are now. You just see this, just being smothered in it just helps you grow.
And are you still a fan?
It took me about 3 years to watch it again because there was a little bit of trauma. Because you knew the behind scenes and you going on, but no, like totally in love with it again now.
And how did you reintegrate into your life after that time away? Like, it was big changes personally for you. Obviously, having a profile, you went in, just as a contestant, you come out as someone, a celebrity essentially. Yeah. How did your family feel when you came out the other side?
Yeah, I know that they were great. Like, yeah. They were so supportive, and they probably loved the journey as much as what I did, really. It was tough when I came home. I think I'd been on this adrenaline junkie high for literally probably 9 months, because it's 3 months before you start filming of that audition process and stuff. About 9 months, and you come home and, like, you go from here to here. And when I came home, like, it still wasn't on TV, so I still couldn't really talk about it or tell anybody about it or anything. So yeah, it was pretty, like, my husband actually took my car keys off me for about 3 weeks because, like, the brain fog and concentrate was a real thing. So that took a little while to sort of, I guess, adjust and integrate back into the family. But I never integrated back the way I was when I went in, which was a deliberate thing, because when I went in, I'd been the main carer, homemaker, all that kind of stuff before I left, which was a deliberate decision on our part. I wanted to not work full time. I liked that role. So that was, I guess, a deliberate action. But while I was away, things like Nev became the manager of Noah's soccer team. Now, I have never, ever joined that WhatsApp group of the parents because I want to know. I want you to tell me on Saturday morning what time Noah's playing and where I'm going. And, like, that's been 5 years since, so I have nothing to do with that, and he just completely consumes that. Other things like Ned's more involved now with our finances, where I used to just, pay everything and do everything, whereas while I was away, he had to deal with that stuff. So it's kind of made our life more, as far as that's concerned, more of a shared thing rather than a priority for me, which was a real bonus.
It sounds like a sort of more equal partnership after that, perhaps.
Yeah, it was like a logical time to do that too, because the kids were older. I was at a point where I wanted to get back into the workforce full time and, like, progress my career, whereas we'd always put his career first because of that. So it was just timing as well. It all worked out well.
Yeah.
Can I just ask as well about your job? Like, obviously your HR going in, did you retain your job? Did you go on pause? Did you quit? What happened with that?
No, I was very, very fortunate in that I got a voluntary redundancy just before
great.
I went on to MasterChef. But my plan was to quit anyway. Like, I'd been my long service leave and holidays and stuff like that for this, and my plan was to leave and to not go back, because I knew this, if I did go back, that was it. Like, I would be there until I retired. It wasn't a bad job. The conditions were fantastic. The pay was really good. I was in a really good position. Great colleagues, but I just didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I needed to go no. And my boss, bless her, she would ring me, once a month or send me a message going, do you want your job back? Do you want your job back? It had to be. I mean, I was really thankful. Actually, when I signed my book to her, I actually thanked her when I signed it, saying, thank you for asking that, because every time you did it just made me think about it and reinforce that I just didn't want to go back and didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, sort of cemented that in your mind.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
Sweet government salaries. I mean, they're not the most wonderful in the world, but they are sweet, and they come with conditions and they come with security, like there's an element of security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The superannuation is amazing. So there's very reasons why you want to keep it. Yeah.
I think that transition of the emotional load off us as mums sounds wonderful. And my husband had to certainly pick up that when I was very unwell, because I just physically couldn't. I just wasn't there. I mean, I was physically there, but I just wasn't present at all. So he had to step up, and I think sometimes it's a good thing. I would never advocate anyone go through what I went through for that to happen, but I do think it's nice to have someone to be able to hand that emotional and mental load off to sometimes. And
yeah, I agree, but I think we do it to ourselves.
we do.
Well, I definitely did it to myself.
Yeah,
I took it all on willingly. Controlled it all and managed it because it was kind of the easier option.
Mm-hmm.
But once you do hand it over, you realize it's actually not.
That's so true. And it's brave to kind of go, no, I'm all in here. This is where I'm going. I'm going down the cooking line now, and I'm going to move away from my, secure job and have a go at this, which you have done.
Yeah. I mean, that also was a family decision because it meant essentially our income halved. And the redundancy was basically a year's wages to keep me going. But, I didn't really earn an awful lot for 4 years after I left.
What does work look like for you now?
Kitchen looks like a studio. I've got lights and tripods and stuff everywhere. So I work from home. I have one person that works for me full time now, which is, that's a relatively new thing, which is exciting. I spend my days doom scrolling, getting inspiration, filming content, coming up with ideas, writing recipes, podcast interviews, radio interviews. About once a month I go down to Channel 7. I do the morning show or Sunrise. I do demonstrations at festivals. Like lots of different, like it's pretty varied actually.
Yeah. So all of those kind of festivals and things like that, they're like paid promotional sort of opportunities. Yeah. So kind of like a speaker, like a speaking tour kind of thing. You're a
chefing
tour. Yeah, that's right. Like I'm off to New Zealand at the end of August to do their version of Good Food and Wine Show. So they have a music one that goes around New Zealand. So I'm going to go there to do that, which is amazing. It's the first international thing. But that's really cool.
That's very cool. And on your social media stuff, which is obviously what you spend a lot of time creating amazing content, like it's insane how much it's taken off. Like we bumped into each other I guess it would have been 2019 or 2020. Maybe it was just after you left.
Yeah, I think so.
2020. And we were both doing I was on a different podcast. You had your podcast in Newcastle and we were both using the same studio. And that's when I first met you in person. I remember following you straight away on Instagram or what have you after that in-person connection, and just watching the numbers. It must be quite incredible. Certainly for me, for me, it's incredible to see it from the outside, and they are insane. You've got nearly 2 million across TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, which is a lot of people.
I know
it's a lot.
It really blows my brain, like how.
It's wild.
I know it is wild.
Yeah.
And it's happened really quickly. So I hit 1 million about 3 weeks ago, I think, on Instagram.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations.
Wow.
I celebrated in my jammies. I looked back 12 months ago to see where I was 12 months ago, just for my own curiosity. And almost exactly 12 months prior, I had 200,000 followers on Instagram. So I'd grown 800,000 in a year.
And is that just the momentum, do you think? Obviously, you've been doing the relatable cooking content for some time. How do you think that has just built so rapidly?
I think I've just worked out what people like. I think everyone talks about the algorithm. The algorithm is essentially feeding people what they want to see. That's what the algorithm is. And so I guess I've just worked out what people want to see, and that is they want someone who is relatable. They want recipes that they don't have to go to the Himalayas to get a specific salt or a truffle. They want to go to Aldi and be able to get the ingredients.
Yeah.
They want it to be quick. They want it to be relatively nutritious. They want it to be easy. all those kinds of things. And I think we just managed to bundle that up into a quick, easy reel for them to watch. That's literally
so good.
That's it. That is it,
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough that I've had some viral reels, which, is a really, it's a nice little bonus. You get lots of followers from virals, but I've grown pretty consistently by about 4% every 30 days for about 18 months now.
Wow. And content creation, like we do it in a very, very tiny way. And I find it really hard work. Like even just coming up with refreshed posts on Instagram and things.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. And I think a lot of people don't understand that creating content it's a job. It's hard work. Do you find the inspiration can sometimes be quite taxing, or, to keep coming up with fresh things and to keep its performance as art as much as anything else? How do you find it?
The ideas, I guess, is the tricky bit.
Yeah.
Coming up with the new ideas. Being in front of the camera, I love that part of it. The cooking part of it, that's the easy for me.
Yeah.
It's the ideas. So that's that, I'm constantly scrolling and looking for inspiration and reading my comments and looking for inspiration in there and asking my followers what they want to see.
What they want.
Yeah, so that's it. I've worked out each reel I make takes me 4 hours from beginning to end. That's not looking, that doesn't include the inspiration. That is literally from having the idea to writing the recipe, going to the supermarket, prepping, filming, editing, voiceover, posting, commenting on comments. So that's a significant amount of what I do.
I mean, I guess if you think of like a work day, you do 2 reels, like, if a work day is like 8 hours, you can do 2 reels in a day. I mean, obviously you don't, because that would be absolutely exhausting, I would imagine.
Sometimes I do 5.
5 reels in a day.
Film 5. So I don't do that so much now, but part of my growth strategy was being prolific. I used to post 3 recipes a day when I was in my major growth mode. So I would sometimes film 5 in a day, and I would just edit 1 a day as I went.
Wow. Is the person you have working for you doing social media with you, or,
No, what we're working on is building I've got a recipe site, but I hate it, and I hate doing it. I just hate anything to do with the website. I hate it because it's technical, and that's just not who I am. So she is basically trying to get all of my recipes onto my website, and there's probably about between 500 and 700 recipes I've got.
Wow.
And she's creating a filing system for me because all my stuff, because I'm the only one that knows where anything is. So she's creating systems for my content, getting it on the website, and doing all the SEO and all that kind of stuff. And we're essentially working towards another income stream that isn't dependent on social media.
So you could be like a subscriber to the website, and you can get access to some, some might be free and some might be subscription based or whatever.
At this stage, everything will be free, and we've enabled ads on the website. So there's a little bit of income from there, but not much at the moment because there's not a lot of traffic. I'm not really pushing many people there at the moment because we're still building, in the process of building. I think there's only about 30 recipes on there. But what we will eventually do is really push people towards there to get the recipes, because at the moment I get so many DMs saying, "Oh, you posted a recipe for blah 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 and I can't find it." I go, me neither. I can't find it either. We're in the abyss. So
I can understand that. That's so true. I
want to get people to be able to access it. And then also what we're working towards, like it's one step at a time, is a subscription which will be focused on like a $20 meal plan. So you will be a certain amount of recipes that you'll be given every week that will be based on his dinner for $20. You can book that. There'll be a menu plan, a shopping list, all that kind of stuff.
Sounds great.
Just like on all of your recipes and everything, your book, let's talk about what was it called? Air Fryer Queen.
I know, great name.
I love it.
Loved it.
Such a great name.
Awesome. And I did see it come out. I blinked and I missed it, and it's gone. It's not available.
Very much underestimated how many people wanted the book. When I signed the deal with my publisher, and when you sign a deal with the publisher, you sign, part of the deal is how many copies they're going to print. So when I signed, I had about, I think I was 300,000 followers when I signed that deal, because it takes a while to write a book. So like my following grew so significantly in that time that when we got it, it pretty much sold out in about 3 weeks. So it's about to hit the shelves again. Like, I think
Yay!
almost have landed. Like any day now it'll land in Australia and it'll be back on the shelf. Thank goodness.
Fantastic.
Excellent. That's exciting because we're on our second air fryer. I said to the kids, like when we got the first one, I don't think we had it at our old house. We moved here and we just got like a small cheap one from Woolies at the time because it was available, and it was $40. And I was like,
oh, wow.
I'm not spending any more than this on an air fryer for another device, like another appliance. I want to make sure I'm going to use it.
I did the same thing. I bought a Kmart one, was my first one, for $50.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So we got that, and turns out, even though it lived in the cupboard, we got it out every single day because it was like became more used than our microwave. And I would say that my microwave, who says that? Isn't there's some I don't know.
Nutella?
A microwave. That was my most used appliance when my kids were little because I would, like everything. I would eat all the veggies in there. You could, all the rest of it. And then we got the air fryer, and then that became my most used appliance, and then it died. But we had probably used it every single day for 3 years, I reckon, 3.5 years. So it was the best $40 I'd ever spent.
No, it was amazing.
Like the investment, $40 investment. So I said to my husband, all right, we need to get another one because it didn't die, but it just wasn't heating up as much. Like it was taking a bit longer to cook things than it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, Black Christmas sale, whatever, Boxing Day sale, whatever they are. I'm like, they're coming. We're going to get a big one. So we got one of the big double air fryer.
Double drawer ones.
Yeah, double drawer. Yeah, so we've got one of those, and I was so excited about the air fryer cookbook because I was like, this is specifically for what we've got, and now I can't probably get a copy of it. Anyway.
No, it's right. It's coming. It's coming. You'll be able to get
it. It's coming.
Definitely.
And it's pretty because it's pink.
I know. It's so pretty. I know. Yeah. I'm just so happy with it. I remember I was showing my mum the photos as we were taking them when we were doing the book shoot. And then when the book came out, she was, oh, they're lovely, they're great. And then when the book came out, she goes to me, oh, it's actually really beautiful. I was really worried it's going to be tacky.
No, it's
There's a lot of colour on there, and there's there's a lot of not a noise, I guess, but I just love it.
That's your personality, right? So, like, why would you come up with like a beige cookbook if
and
that
it really stands out on the shelf? Yeah, it really does.
Gorge.
But I'm about to sign my contract for my second book, so there'll be another one, which is exciting.
So good.
So what will that be, air fryer or?
Okay, it's going to be one pan dinner. So there's going to be a chapter
fantastic.
One pan on the cooktop.
Yeah.
And then another chapter on one pan, like tray bakes in the oven.
Oh, I love a tray bake.
Oh,
That's
I love
my
a good
favourite.
tray bake.
And then one chapter on slow cooker.
Amazing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So with slow cookers, quick question, side note, my slow cooker got broken when we moved house. So we bought a pressure cooker because I was just the disorganisation, the chaos, and I was back at work full time, and it meant that I just had to be so much more organised to use the slow cooker because I had to get it in the morning, which is fine if you've organised.
Yeah.
And then my best friend said, no, grab the pressure cooker because you can use that. But is there a cheap way to kind of adjust the timing from a slow cooker to a pressure cooker, or is there totally different cooking styles?
Totally. Well, yes and no. They kind of have the same result, but just do it in a different way. So pressure cooker actually works with like major pressure and steam, whereas the slow cooker also works with steam but at a lower temperature and without the pressure. So they're kind of almost exactly the same result, but just a different
pathway.
Yeah, pathway. I think from memory, for every hour of cooking, it's about 15 minutes on high in the cooker.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so that's if you were going to cook it on the stovetop or in the oven. So
Mhm.
you know how the slow cooker recipe you put on for 8 hours.
Yep. Yep.
You wouldn't put it in the pressure cooker for
No.
every hour. But like it kind of depends on how big the piece of meat is and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like if you Google, you'll be there's charts and things.
Yeah.
But I, as a general, about 15 minutes for every hour.
Yeah, sure. Excellent.
Cool.
That's
And
very cool.
do you have a favourite recipe, which is probably like picking your favourite kid? But do you have a favourite? Like,
I don't have a favourite recipe, but I have favourite pieces of content, I guess, that I've posted, which are recipes, I guess, which is kind of the same thing. I have two, and they're both sweets. One is my 5-minute cookies, chocolate chip cookies. I love that piece of content because it's just such a great result. It's so quick and easy, and people just love it. Like it's just you want to make your own cookies. It's just a perfect scenario. And the other piece of content I love, which honestly is the story is hilarious. I'd literally been out for coffee with this group of ladies that are significantly older than me, and they were talking about this recipe that used the whole orange blender cake, and they were talking about it the week before, and then I got COVID and I didn't have any content made, and I woke up and I thought, I've got to make some content. I'm going to do that whole orange blender cake. Like I look at that piece of content now, I sound and I look so awful. I'm so unwell. And it is my most viral video ever, which is fascinating. I look at my hair and I go, oh my God, what happened there? That's just bizarre.
COVID hair.
Yeah, I know COVID, but it's been the most popular because it's just throw everything in a blender and you get a cake, and it's just brilliant. And I just love that concept that anybody can make something. Yeah. You just need to throw it all together and you get a result.
Oh, that's the best. I love some of your recipes I've made, like the tuna ones with the corn, and you just throw everything in. Yeah. I was looking at what was one I saw the other day that I was like, oh, I'm going to make that.
There's a gnocchi one. I saw a gnocchi cream and
so delicious, so much.
Yeah,
that's cool. And you pour the cream in first.
Oh my God,
that sounds cream and the cheese and the spinach and the gnocchi, and it's all in one. And yeah, so good.
They're the ones I just love because I don't have an air fryer. I'm clearly in the minority there.
You need to get one.
I
just
do. I need
to get one.
Yeah.
Just buy one.
Yeah. I've never thought about it, but Steph, looking through all Steph's contents, I'm like, clearly, I need to get one. Yeah.
Look, honestly, it's actually I bought the air fryer. I didn't really adopt it. I did a few pieces of content with it because it was kind of trendy at the time. It's actually my son, who he's about to turn 16 now. He really adopted it. Like he just really adopted it to cook things. Like he would come home from school, chop himself up a potato and make himself a thing of potato chips in the air fryer.
Yum.
He was reheating everything in it, and he was just using it all the time. And I thought, well, like, I don't know, it just seemed like he showed me how useful it was, I guess. Yeah.
It was my kids. I've got to be honest. Like, it wasn't me. It was my kids that were using it all the time.
Yeah.
And so that made me think, oh, hang on. And then, we decided to go for the bigger one, and that lives on the bench, right? So we reorganised everything because you can't move it in and out. It's
the big one,
No.
Yeah, that Ninja one is really big, and it's quite heavy too. So but
it's
kind of using it every day.
Yeah, make it a bit of a feature in the kitchen, and I mean it's useful. Like I use it all the time, and even as you say, I've made pavlovas in it. Like
you can literally do anything in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I got one for my daughter she lives in Darwin, when I went to visit her, and she goes, I've eaten more vegetables since I've had my air fryer because I can just roast my vegetables so easily. Yep. So it's really interesting how it impacts people in a different way because she lives on her own. So she's not able to turn the oven on and make a big thing of roast vegetables for a dinner, but she can throw them in the air fryer and she's quite happy to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I boiled an egg. Well, I didn't boil an egg, obviously. I air fried an egg.
But how good is that?
Yeah, no, you just pop it in, low heat, 10 minutes, come back, and they're perfect. Like they're exactly, the white is fully cooked, and I can't do googie eggs that the white is not cooked. And the yolk is still runny a little bit, and it's perfect.
You just got to find the right timing for your
perfect egg.
You found it. You just never need to deviate. You just need to just stick to that.
And you just pop it in there and walk away, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
come back, done, and, you know, have a shower or whatever in the morning and come
I love
back.
that about the air fryer is that it's set and forget, a bit like the slow cooker. Whereas the oven, you've got to keep coming back and check it and turn things over and, you know, twist it around in the oven so the front cooks as the back. Whereas the air fryer, you don't need to do any of that. It's literally just put it in and walk away. Yet, have we sold you? Are you going to get an air fryer today?
Yeah, I reckon I might have to. I feel, maybe not today, but I feel like it's coming soon.
At the moment.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, yes. No time to waste.
Aldi centre aisle. I mean, while we're talking about Aldi, do you have like a favourite Aldi centre aisle or, you know, like, I mean, there's always the most random things in there, but sometimes there are like incredibly useful things as well. Is there a favourite that you've come across so far up until
in the
now?
centre aisle? I love their pots and pans.
Anything, really.
Oh, yeah, pots and pans.
Like, I have got the most amazing pots and pans from that central aisle. They're incredible.
I've got like the big 4 or 5 inches deep and it's round with 2 handles and it's got a lid.
Yep. It's like an imitation of the Le Creuset pots, you know. Yeah, they're amazing. They're so good. But I'm always buying stuff out of the middle aisle. And my husband the other day,
like everyone,
like one of those gun massager things. We got that this week from the centre aisle. Sheets,
fabulous.
Bath mats, like just everything. Like
always good bargains to be found.
Oh, no, so many good bargains.
Are there any changes, big or small, that you still want to make in your life?
Look, I feel like this recent health issues I've had, one thing that when I was in hospital, I said to my husband, you wait till I'm better. We are going to get healthier. We're going to get fitter. We're going to get stronger. I just all of a sudden felt very vulnerable in my age. And I know I'm only 51, but my mum is 83 and my God, that woman is unbelievable. She still mows her lawn. She still maintains her house, like 4 bedrooms, up and down stairs, 3 bathrooms, exercise classes in the park. Like she's honestly amazing. And I don't feel like I'm on that path and I need to be on that path. So that's probably one of the big things of late that I feel like I need to change and I want to change.
Fair enough.
And I guess leading on from that change, you know, which is a big change, you know, like getting healthy. And it's not about getting skinny or any of those things. It's about being healthy and strong and setting healthy, mobile and strong and setting yourself up for the next stages of our lives.
Is that like nails when we need to do that?
That's right. Absolutely, 100%. So our podcast is called The Change, which is in part a little reference to the midlife experience of all women, perimenopause/menopause. So what we want to know is, what is your experience of or feelings toward the change?
I went through the change before it was trendy because I feel like it's a bit trendy now and like everybody knows it.
We're trying to make it so.
And like there's things you can do about it, right? But I actually went through it without even knowing that I was going through it. I literally just thought that I was just a psychotic, irritated bitch from hell that just sweated all the time and was cranky and my body hurt. Like that was my experience of going through menopause. I was on antidepressants. I had lots going on in my life as well, but you know, I'm sure that was most of it was to do with going through menopause. I'd had my tubes tied and I'd had an ablation done very early on after my last child, so I really hadn't had a regular period for a really long time, if any. So that was, you know, that's kind of the key sign for people to know they're going through menopause, right? Well, that wasn't a sign for me, so I come through it without really knowing that I was going through it. I just love the fact that it's out there and everybody's talking about it now, and that there's things that, like, I just think, oh my God, what HR could have done for HR therapy could have done for me. Like it would have
you can still go on it, and there's a lot of people, a lot of doctors that would advocate you still jumping on it, even if it's been, you know, 2-3 10 years post because it has such good benefits.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the right, because I still have all my bits, it's the progesterone not making you feel a bit crazy, and crap, that kind of stuff. Absolutely. I'm a 100% a believer in it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's a tricky pathway and balancing act for all of us, I think. So
everyone's different, but yeah.
Yeah, and fingers crossed that you find your balance and find your wellness, and we can't wait for the next book.
Yes, and to get a copy of this book and my air fryer together.
She was just amazing. So wonderful.
Yeah. So good to talk to her. And also, I just feel hungry. Just looking at her face just makes me think some kind of I think of her socials and her beautiful glasses and earrings, and I just want to go cook something delicious.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And I can't wait for Air Fryer Queen to hit the shelves again.
Yeah.
And I will be running, not walking, to the shop.
To get that,
Yes.
And I need to get one.
You absolutely do. And I'm not sure that there's a lot that we can really say that Steph didn't say.
No, she's very relatable, and I think that is what won her all those followers and fans after MasterChef, because obviously there's been hundreds of contestants that have gone on MasterChef and very few have gone on to be as successful as Steph has been. And like I said, that the climb of the numbers for her has been it's been stratospheric, really, and even as she said, only in the last year. So that's incredible, and it's because she's so good. She is genuinely so good. If you're not following Steph, get on it. Yeah, it was great to chat to her and hear all about her life as a TV star / social media guru and chef.
And meanwhile, Laura and I will run away and try and be more consistent on our social media game.
It's giving me that. Yeah, we need to find that algorithm for us. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to The Change, a fully independent podcast. Whether you're seeking inspiration, curious about change, or just here for the great banter, we'd love you to make The Change your new go-to podcast.
And even better, send us your voice notes or questions about change. We'll use them on the show. Email us at changepod2023@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at _change_pod. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more on The Change.